What's the matter, Mama? You won't go outside and play? Good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon. It's like 3 o'clock or so, and I'm just picking up the camera now finally. If you notice, the Camaro is in the other bay because the K10 is in that bay. I'm gonna get started on that thing. I'm gonna finish up what I can finish on this thing. What we are doing now is I have the gauges pulled. We're gonna do as much of our Dakota Digital install as we can until we get this tunnel fixed so I can put the console back here. As you can see, I got the gauges pulled out, everything's disconnected. I cut and pulled out our old dilapidated, destroyed speedometer cable. We won't be needing that. As you can tell, it's quite messy under here. I'm gonna clean it up as best I can and start wiring up and figuring out where I'm going to put my brain box actually for the Dakota Digital, and then start wiring everything up. I have installed our gauge pod in the center console. Very nice. So much better than the old gauges that are over here. Yeah. I'm working on the actual cluster now. You can see this is our before. I'm going to pull this out, install our Dakota Digital cluster assembly. Alright, took the factory gauges off of our trim panel. They're over here. As you can see, factory gauges, the directionals, the indicators are in the gauges. I forget what year they moved them outside into little pods on the sides here, but that's good because Dakota Digital includes directional indicators in here, as well as a high beam indicator. This is your factory high beam indicator, and it grounds off of a bolt that attaches it to the dash frame. It also brings this ground back here, which used to ground on one of these two bolts to ground out everything you needed on the cluster for a ground. We don't need that anymore. I'm gonna leave the bulb for the hell of it. I am going to get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And then this whole assembly installs using the factory bolts, and they give you a little bit of foam insulation to put on each one of these so that you don't get any squeaks and stuff. So I'm going to do that as well. And we are assembled back together. Very nice look. I think, you know, some of you purists would want the factory stuff in there. That's cool. That's you. You can do that. I like the updated look, and it keeps with how the stock was, speedometer here, tachometer there, and everything else down in the console. So the only thing left to do on this side is plug in your cat cable for communications. You connect this gauge to this gauge, and then this one goes into your brain box along with this one that plugs into these gauges, and they both merge in the brain box. So now what I got to do is find room under that dash to mount that brain box, as well as our BIM interface, so I can pull what are we doing, coolant temp and tachometer off of the sniper and not have to run any other lines in there for that stuff. And then I have a sensor hardwired in for oil pressure and for the vehicle speed sensor. Those are the only two that we'll have in there for those. And voltage, it gets it just from your 12 volt voltage that you put into that brain box. So let me duck my head underneath that dash in that absolute mess and see where I have room to do stuff. Okay, so after much deliberation, going back and forth about 57 times, I finally decided this is what we're going to do. The BIM module fits right up in there perfectly, so I mounted that up in there. I test fit the cluster before I put that in and looked from behind, and there's about 2 inches of room here, so there's plenty of room for that right there. The brain box, I think I'm going to put over, after I fix that screw that was put in like dog shit, I'm going to put this over here. That is a block off plate from Vintage Air for that hole there. And I think I'm going to mount this right back here. It's kind of the best place to put it. It's just it's not even the best, it's where I have to put it. So I believe I'm going to mount that right back there, and then I can start wiring. It sucks I had to take a whole bunch of stuff apart that I already put back together. We're definitely going function over form on this because there's just no available real estate here. Well, there we go. I'm not 100% thrilled with it, but it will work, and it will be clean and out of the way. And I am also going to clean up the rest of these wires, like I told you, as good as I can. But for right now, I'm going to get up out of the most uncomfortable position I've been laying in for the last 15 minutes and try to unbend my neck now. Alright, and that's where I'm calling it tonight. We've got everything mounted. I've got my BIM module hooked into the special little coax cable, whatever, pass-through that you have to use for the Sniper 2 only. Sniper 1, it's just a Y harness. And then I've got the BIM plugged into the brain box, and I powered up the brain box with my power probe just to make sure that did power up, and it does still work. And also made sure that I still have communication through here, which I do, so that's good. So let me give you a heads up on what we got going on in the 75 K10, I guess. All right, the 75 K10. Steering column is out of it. Boss Man is taking that to go refinish it. It's just crusty and dirty, so it's going to get blasted and repainted and everything, and we got a brand new steering wheel for it. He forgot to bring me my kill mat to finish this up to this line, but he is bringing that for me, I believe, Saturday. I painted the brake pedal because it was all rusty and dirty. Same with the transfer case shifter lever. I got parts on top of parts on top of parts. We have a bunch of new replacement stuff, like this grill's not, oh, this is the grill actually, the new grill that's going in. And all these parts. Remember back when you were a kid and you used to build models and you'd pull out like a million parts and you'd have all kinds of directions for it? This is like that. Only I don't have any directions. We've got part of a drive shaft over here. Unfortunately, we don't know where the front yoke is. We got to see if we can find that. Once we get that drive shaft in and make sure everything clears, I can finish weld the exhaust. My American Auto Wire total vehicle wire harness is here, so I'm probably going to throw that fuse block in tomorrow and start rough running wires all over the place. We can start plumbing the fuel system for the Sniper. It's going to be frame mounted pump in this one, and return system. And oh, let me show you. So we have a video coming out, or I have a video coming out of this, of an ashtray? No, of a conversion for the ashtray for these vehicles. I'll put the year and models up here that it fits, the guy makes them for, to turn your ashtray into a wireless charger. It is a really nice put together kit. Comes with everything you need except this cover. This is your original cover. So we painted it the rest, you know, with the rest of the paint that got done in here. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It hooks into your factory cigarette lighter with a USB adapter for this charger pad. It is a fast charger as far as I know. That's how it wires in. He makes the brackets that hold your factory cigarette lighter and everything. It's pretty awesome. Deluxe Performance Fab, I believe is his name. I'm really bad for not remembering that right now. He's on Instagram and eBay though, and I will put his correct name up here and I will put a link to that down in the description. But super happy with that. I like that a lot. That thing is pretty awesome, and it's a great use of something that nobody uses anymore, because who the hell still smokes? You shouldn't. All right, we've got door latches and everything to put in, door handles, window trims, window runs, weather strip, outside trim, all kinds of crap. It's got to start coming together quick, except for my stuff, because I have to figure out where everything goes. Like, we're going to the point where we're using factory blower resistor and all that stuff, and somewhere over in this area, I can't remember where it mounts, but there's a vacuum canister that mounts there. We're putting that back in too. I mean, this is going to be, besides the sniper, this is going to be a factory engine bay. It's got factory AC, factory accessories, everything, V-belts, you name it. But it is now 4:30 at night, and I'm going to go home, and we will continue tomorrow on the 68 Camaro, and I will get as many inputs wired into that Dakota Digital as I can. I believe we might be able to do everything except for the one Cat6 cable that connects, that goes to the center console. So the only thing that sucks is all I will have is tach and speedometer, because every other gauge is in the center console. But it'll go in soon enough, right after we get that tunnel fixed. That's it for me today. I'm going to start a build series on this K10. I know I have the attention span of a goldfish, and I tend to put multiple vehicles in all the same video, and I'm going to start separating those so you can, I can put them into playlists, and you can go and see just what you want to see. You don't have to see a K10, 75 K10, a 68 Camaro, and a 77 F250 all in the same video. But I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll tackle some more wiring on the 68 Camaro. Good morning. Love that buzzer. Let's take that key out of there. There we go. Let's turn my light on. All right, so today, it's gonna be a short day. I got stuff I gotta do, so we're gonna do as much as I can do today. I believe I'll be able to get at least the up top cluster done. I have to see if the Cat6 cable is going to make it all the way down here. If not, I know somewhere in one of these drawers in this red box we have more Cat6 cables, and we have the female to female adapter, so I can put two cables together to lengthen it. And then I can plug in the center console, at least lay it in here, plug it in to make sure all that stuff is good, and calibrate it. What I'm gonna work on today though is I want to get my main power, ground, and ignition on that brain box. I have my cable here for my speedometer and my oil pressure sender. Get those onto there, and then I have somewhere in here, here it is. This is my main instrument panel connector. So I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, light blue and dark blue are my directionals. But those are my whole directionals. I can tee in off of my high beam indicator to get that. And I think that's all I really need for, gas tank, which is going to be this tan wire, fuel level sender, I mean. And I can get all that stuff into that brain box and get that taken care of. So let me get onto that, because I got to make a couple of phone calls too, because I'm doing some 401k stuff, and it's a fun day. You know, I like to have fun. I like to do a whole lot of stuff that I don't want to really have to do, but we do it all. One still works. All right, let me get to it. I'll get that stuff wired in there, and then we will start doing some calibrations. Okay, so we're all in, we're all wired. I still gotta tie everything up and clean it up. That's the amount of stuff I was able to get rid of. I'm going to sit the cluster in here right now and power everything up and see if everything works. I still have to hook up my constant power wire and my ignition power wire for the sniper system down there. I cleaned up everything out of this center console wiring. This is all we need. This is for the light that's at the end of the console. And we lucked out because while I was looking for the female-to-female adapters so we could extend this, I actually found a 6-foot Cat6 cable. So we can run a single cable all the way in. So let me do those couple of little constant power wires and ignition power wires under here. Then we can power this thing up. All right, here we go. Everything is wired. I still have to clean up the wiring behind that, but everything is plugged in and good. Let's see if we get self-check. Yep, they all moved. Cool. That's all moving. Illumination works. Works. Sweet. I'm gonna do some quick calibrations on all this stuff and I'll be right back. Calibrated. Let's see if it all reads. We'll do our self-check here. Yep, everything's good there. Half a tank of fuel, 13 volts. Let's put the lights on so you can see everything. Let's turn this light off actually. Hey, that works better. Let's start her up. All right, tax reading. Oil pressure's reading. Everything's good. I'm not gonna let it warm up in here because we're inside and I don't want to stink out the shop, but it works. Okay, we are all bolted back in, ready to go. I did notice I must not be getting a good ground path for that indicator for the high beams, which I'll be honest with you, I don't care because we have it down there, so that's fine. We don't need an incandescent bulb up here when we've got an LED down here. But directionals all work. That's all good to go. Let's see, hazards work, so we're good. Everything works there. So I am going to, we're going to rewrap this harness here so that everything is neat with the cat cable and our sniper Bluetooth module. I am going to mount the Bluetooth module under the center console, so it's central to everything. Should get a good signal from there. But right now I'm going to clean up all these wire scraps and all these tools that I have in here because clutter drives me nuts. So we're going to clean everything out of this interior. I also have to look up this bulb. There you go, that bulb, and the one that's in the back of this, which is the same as the dome light bulb, and have the boss man order those because the customer wanted to do everything in the inside LED, including those. No, it's pretty white. It looked yellow, but it looks yellow, I believe, because of the incandescent bulb. So I have, this is the same style that I have in my Avalanche. I forget what number they are, but they are super bright, the LED dome light stuff. So I will get that ordered. So we are kind of caught up. I can continue stripping this back section of carpet out, and then all of this jute, get this all out of here. This is going to be extremely messy, so I think I'm going to end up pulling it outside, ripping it all out, and then everything I can't get out by hand, I'll take a wire cup brush to and get it all out of there. And then we're just waiting for our tunnel patch to get here so we can put a new tunnel in this thing and then sound deaden and heat proof this floor. What's the matter, Mama? You won't go outside and play? Oh, what's going on, guys? It's a Monday morning. Ruby's going to be with me all week. She's expecting puppies, and I don't need her to have a or surprise go into labor while I'm at work. We're going to jump around a lot today, but first thing we're going to do is I'm pulling out this bench seat, and we're going to be pulling out this rug and getting as much of this crap out as I can to get this prepped for Noah to put in the new trans tunnel, which is over in a box over there. So I got my seat undone, so I'm going to pull that out and then rip this rug out and then see how badly, like, I don't even know what this crap is. It's like a combination between like bodywork fiberglass and some kind of heat mat. This might be a major pain in the butt coming out, but we're gonna get as much out as humanly possible because I decided we are going to, I'm gonna make sure all these wires are routed correctly too. Same thing with the ones over there. I'm going to kill mat this whole floor, and then we're going to do the whole trans tunnel in the DEI gold heat wrap, and that way this thing should be silent and completely thermal proofed. But I did get into here this morning, got our freshly painted and cleaned up gas pedal in. I gotta do this section right here. I got this done up to this back wall. I don't want to do up to here because it's not needed. Number one, it's going to add a little bit of height to the whole assembly once the rug and jute is under here, and I want as much room as possible for the speaker box. I found a really nice Rockwood Fosgate slimline speaker box to go in here, and we're going to use the same Alpine amp that we use. It's a 5-channel amp in all of them, and that Rockwood Fosgate box has a single 10 with dual voice coils, 4 ohms, wired so that it's a 2 ohm load, and that amp that we use under a 2 ohm load for the subwoofer circuit will put out 300 watts, which is perfect. And then it's getting, I believe, 50 or 60 watts to, we're going to do 2 corner speakers back here and 2 kick panel speakers, and I'm not sure if he's doing a dash speaker or not. He might do that too. But I also broke out the American Auto Wire box so I can get the fuse block mounted in here and rough run my wires to everywhere they need to be run. But first things first, I'm going to rip that seat out and get that rug out, and then fight with all that crap under that rug for probably the better part of today. Alright guys, so we've got the truck back out of the paint booth. The door is installed. I've installed the whole unit on here. Very simple. The 2 bolts up top, 2 bolts down bottom, just like factory, because everything's made to fit the factory mounts. I've got it hooked up to a jump box right now because there's still not a single wire in this truck. I still have to wire the whole thing. But we're gonna throw my phone in here so you can see how this thing works. And we're charging. Cool little add-on for your truck to get rid of a useless area if you don't smoke. Okay, well, unfortunately, I think nothing short of a blowtorch or sandblaster is going to take all this crap off. It is absolutely horrible. I don't know what it is. If you guys know what kind of stupid underlayment crap this is, let me know, because I don't ever want to see it on a list that we have that we're doing anything with. It's just unbelievably bad. So we're going to scrape as much of it off as I can, and we will do our thing over that. This is our replacement tunnel. It's a factory stamped style tunnel. Sorry, I'm moving so I can get in here. Comes with the lines or the indents that the factory one has that you can't see because they're covered with this crap. 1, 2, and 3, and it looks like, yes, so it comes right up to this line up here, and by what I measured out, I believe it's either right on the outside of this line or right on the inside. So Noah is going to do his thing when he gets done doing the other things he has to do, which is painting the bed to the 75 right now. And we are going to get this thing cut, installed, and welded in, and if I have to, I will pull the transmission and the shifter out, but he thinks he can get the hole cut. Is there any semblance? Alright, so there's some semblance of the factory hole still there, so we should be able to make that work. But unfortunately, I'd say 3/4, let's see, yeah, so a lot of it's missing and misaligned. We'll make the hole correct so it's the smallest hole it needs to be, so as to not transmit any more heat in. Right now though, I am going to go lay out the harness for the 75 K10. I also decided I was going to mat the back wall up to the paint line because this gets carpet, and anything we can do to deaden it is good. So that'll work out pretty well. So if you guys have never seen the American Auto Wire stuff, comes in a big box like this. Everything is bagged, labeled with what it is by name and a part number. The part numbers are all on your list. Which is this? This is my main one. Somewhere in here is my main. Yeah, so this is your main schematic. But somewhere in here is my main printout with all my breakouts and all that stuff. But I already pulled the fuse block out, so I'm going to install the fuse block in the car now, or truck, and get that in so I can kind of put these runs out to where they need to go in the vehicle. Okie dokie, so I've got my fuse block mounted. I'm starting to do my rough run. We're using the factory wire tie locations. I'm going to just go through everything. Like, this is my hazard switch. I got to get a picture of the dash and remember where everything goes up here. This will be my cigarette lighter. You know, everything's labeled basically on here. This doesn't say cig lighter, I don't believe. I think, yeah, so this one doesn't say it, but it is. I know that from experience, and it'll say it on the schematic itself. Then you've got all your lights and stuff for your radio and your HVAC and all that stuff. I just had to build this jumper harness that's from here to here. That's for your wiper switch. This is your lighting switch. It's already pre-done. Horn relays up there. I threw my hazard switches in. This is going to be my courtesy pigtail that goes to my door pin switch for courtesy lights. In here somewhere, where is this? Oh no, so this is my brake light switch. So this is going to come back through the harness and down to right here to my brake light switch. I got a couple of grounds that I have to ground off for the main harnesses. This is all my ignition and steering stuff. It comes off the bottom side of this fuse block. Hazard high beam is here. I just got to locate and drill this. This floor pan would help if you were looking at it. This floor pan doesn't have the existing bolt holes, so I just want to locate it where it's supposed to be located. But right now I'm going to find the other side of this light harness right here, because I want to run that all the way over there, and then I'm going to pull whichever bag has the lighting stuff for the dome light, as well as there is a connector here somewhere that will be plugging into all my rear lighting. Oh, actually, you know what? On this, I got to take a real quick look. The connector for that might be on the outside package on this vehicle. I'm so used to doing the Fords, it's on the inside and it runs down through here. So let me open up some more bags and do that. Everything is going smoothly so far, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I opened up my bag for the rear lighting, my bag for the front lighting, and my bag for the engine harness. And that's where you get all three of these connectors that slide into the engine harness one and plug into the back side of that fuse block. So that is everything that is coming out. Wiper motor mounts up here on this one. The wiper wires are in here, so they'll connect into there. It's not like the 60s, what is it, 68, 72, where it mounts inside and comes through. So I am going to continue looking through the packages to see what I can get, because I want to try to get like the whole inside laid out before I start unwrapping these and laying these out, because this is a boatload of wire and I'd rather it all stay tied up and neat until I'm ready to do it. Okay, so here we have the courtesy lamp kit back. This should be everything I need for the doors for the courtesy lights, and I have to take a look inside here, but I believe the dome light might be in here. If not, I'll have to look through another one of these bags, but this will do the side to side that I wanted to do, pin switches and all that stuff. Well, unfortunately we don't have the door pin switches to the vehicle, because I would love to get those in and finalize this part of the harness and get that finished. But I do have everything pretty much run where it needs to be run. I'm going to attach my connectors for the dash lights and everything, instrument cluster lights, and cut off my terminals that I need for my high beam, directionals, all that stuff I need for the Dakota Digital. And then I'm going to decide what we're going to use for a speedometer drive. I believe we're just going to use the one that comes with the Dakota Digitals, they give you a sender that converts your mechanical cable to a electrical sensor. But I'm going to see if I'm going to use any of those wires as well. And then I'm not going to run any of the engine stuff yet because we have to still get our inner fenders and stuff in. But I am trying to find parts left and right. I would love to put the windshield wipers on and verify that all that works, because we have a habit of getting that stuff in and then turning them on for the first time after the complete truck is assembled and realizing the transmission linkage is not correct. And that's because I don't do them. Usually somebody else has put them in, but I want to verify that first. And I will also change this connector out, because this is a regular spade connector and I need just the round female for this what do you call it, cigarette lighter adapter. So I will do that as well. And then I can actually, my couple of grounds that I have, that's courtesy light, that's actually for this. Here it is, the ground. And I have another ground that's over there, which I will ground now. Alright, today I'm going to start on the Dakota Digital stuff. I've got my control unit mounted in here. I'm starting to get my wires in here one by one for all my signals. I'm going to grab my harness for the sniper and run that, because once I get done wiring the brain box, I'm going to wire or connect in the BIM module. That's going to give us what outputs that we can get for this, which is going to be water and RPM. And then I will be out here running my sender for the vehicle speed sensor and for the oil pressure. Alright, ladies and gents, it's been a couple hours. We did a bunch of stuff body wise and stuff, but I did get my oil pressure sender mounted. I've got my splitter in here for my Dakota Digital BIM to give me signals to my Dakota Digital dash controller. I have also my speedometer sender in and good. I've got to crank the engine over to top dead center compression so I can line up this distributor and make sure that's good, because I don't ever trust it if I haven't done it. But I did get a bunch of stuff done inside. So we have our brain box mounted over here. Everything is wired to it that needs to be now. Let me think. Yeah, that's it. This thing is fully wired. The only thing I need to do is hook my full-time power up down to my fuse block once I get to that point. I have run my runs over here. I've got, this is my cat cable to go to the dash. I've assembled the dash. We don't have a new trim plate for this whole thing, so we're waiting on that. Next, I'm going to mount up our BIM module, and I think what I'm going to do on this is either put it up here, because that's up out of the way, or two-sided tape onto here. But I have to do a check real quick and make sure that doesn't interfere with our HVAC vent. Like I told you, we are staying with stock HVAC on this, so I laid all, those are all the big ABS plastic tubing. I laid all that in here to make sure we have it all. We do have everything. I actually found our, that was the dash, our vacuum line assembly that attaches to all these fittings and the controller itself. We have a new controller, so I might mount that in here today. I'm just trying to figure out what I can do before I paint myself into a corner, because we sent all those pieces out with the boss man today to be cleaned because they were filthy, and I'm like, we're not putting filthy parts back in this thing. They're just, you know, normal dirt and dust. So that's all going to come back, and I'm trying, I got to go through all of our parts now. We have a headlight switch. We do not have, as far as I can find, we don't have the man, I'm really drawing a blank and stuff today. Wiper switch, that's the one I'm looking for. But the radio is coming. It's going to be retro auto sound. Looks like it's old, but it's a new style radio with Bluetooth, the whole 9 yards, like we always do. the harness for the HVAC stuff, which goes through the firewall and goes to everything on the outside there, which is your resistor, your pressure switch, the actual blower fan, all that stuff. This kit for American Auto Wire does not give you all of that like all the other ones that I'm used to. It gives you this right here, which plugs into your factory one. And it's actually pretty good because the factory grommet is a special grommet that goes through there, because vacuum lines go through there too, because that's how you get your vacuum in supplied to all this stuff that's vacuum operated. So little by little I'm getting stuff done. Noah's working on door latches and stuff now, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna get that BIM module. I'm gonna figure out where I want to mount that and then go from there. But right now I can hear the dog whining over there, so I think it's time to take her out. I forgot to mention, I also grabbed our wiring for the sniper, and this is probably going to be the easiest sniper installation I've ever done. It's going to be on the stock HEI, and really the only wire I need out of this one, this connector that usually this is where all your fan connections and all that stuff come from, mechanical fan. So the only wire I needed is the AC kick, so when the AC's on, it doesn't bog the engine down. So that's it. This is probably going to be the simplest install of a sniper I've ever done in my life. All right, so we are fully wired, like I said, with the exception of my full-time power going to that fuse block, because the fuse block's not powered yet. I got the cluster in there. I did jump it with the jump pack to make sure everything came on, and I calibrated all my gauges except for my speedometer, because you have to actually drive that to calibrate it. And I got my directional telltales in there for these, because it still uses the stock area directionals. It's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to get this engine turned over to top dead center, get the distributor back in and timed, and I think we're going to start running some wires for the sniper. All right, we are top dead center. Distributor is reinstalled at number 1. So the coolant temp sensor for the sniper, it's obviously not going to fit here because that's right into here. I could drill and tap here, but somebody already filled this with coolant, not me. I wouldn't be doing that yet. So I don't want to get any shavings into the system, and I'm not going to pull this intake. So I am going to put it down here in the head. I just need to get a 1/2 inch NPT to 3/8 MBT adapter or step down so that I can mount the sensor, because this is a 1/2 inch MPT hole and the sensor is a 3/8 MPT. What I am going to do right now, actually, since nobody has done this yet, is get the hardware and bolt the sniper down, and then we're going to start running some wires to stuff that we need to run. And I'm going to figure out where we're going to put our O2 sensor, which side and whatnot, where we're going to route that. And then also have the kick down cable for the transmission, and we have the throttle cable over there, so I got to find the brackets for both of those to mount this. We're moving somewhere. It's not super fast, but we're moving somewhere. I'm also going to get rid of the big giant clunky, if you know the Chevy starters, the big one, like the 6-inch can. We're going to get rid of that, and we're going to update that to the late 90s truck style, smaller, and just a better all-around starter, because that starter, I had to crank the engine over to get some oil flow through it, because this thing was pretty stiff to turn to try to get it to top dead center, and that starter down there, no bueno. So let me see if I can find the hardware for this stuff, and my throttle bracket. Actually, you know what, I think my throttle bracket's right back here. Oh, it is, I believe. Yeah, okay. Don't know if that's going to work though, because this is for the stock carb, so we'll see. If not, we have some universal ones over there that'll work for this stuff. So let me go find some parts, and we can start doing the smallest bit of engine bay wiring. Unfortunately, they did all this stuff. Previous guy did. He's got the stock fuel line in here, which I'm going to have to cut the zip ties he's got holding on and get it out of there, because we're not using the stock fuel line. We're using 6AN fuel line return and feed. but he didn't put the radiator cooler lines in, which are probably going to be super fun to get our way down in there. So yeah, not looking forward to that. All right, so got our main relay and fuse for the sniper. Figured I'd mount them right here. It's going to be the cleanest area. I'm still trying to decide where I want to run these wires. The battery goes right here. If you know these trucks, the 75 K10. So I'm trying to decide if I want to run this way, or if I want to run it completely underneath the airbox and up the fender well, like super hidden. Kind of got to get the fender well in here first to see what I want to do. I terminated my yellow tack wire to the HEI, so that's on there. The good thing about doing this with the American Auto Wire kit is they give you, which one, here it is. So they tell you if you're using HEI, these are your two connectors that you need. If you're using a regular points distributor, you'll just be, you know, or points or just a regular coil style, you'll just be using eyelets on your coil like normal. But it's pretty good. So it tells you you need terminal E and connector H for your tack. So you come over here. Connector H is the brown one. Connector J is the other one for battery power. That is in here somewhere. I don't need that yet. There it is. It's hiding. It's right there. And that one uses, because it's a bigger gauge wire, uses terminal D. So you look at terminal D, it's basically it's the double wide version of the other one. But that will be going on once I start running that main harness over here through everything. So there's still some stuff that I have to get rid of on here. There is a tack wire that's in here that I'm not going to be using, obviously. There's all your temp and pressure sensors and all that stuff. I'll be eliminating those because I don't need those at all. This stuff will all be staying. So this is all rear lighting, and this is all front lighting. This is all engine bay mechanical sensor stuff. So I might actually go through that now and start eliminating what I don't need off of here, because it'll make it easier in the long run. All right, so out of that harness, these are your three main ones. Battery power, which is going to go to my junction block, and that supplies power to the fuse block inside. Purple is your starter solenoid wire, so I can run that wherever. Pink is your 12-volt ignition feed, which they use for the coil. Also, there was these 4 wires that come off. This is all my windshield wiper stuff, so I shoved them up here for now because I don't need them. So the wires we will be getting rid of are water temp. If you can see, everything is, probably can't see, but they're all printed. That's why I love these harnesses. Water temp, oil pressure. So I'll be removing these 2 out of this connector and getting rid of them because we don't need those, because water temp is going through the sniper, through CAN, and oil pressure is already run right there with the Dakota Digital electronic gauge. Okay, so that harness is now fully deleted. Nothing is in here that I don't need, only the stuff we're going to be using. So there won't be extra wires laying around, stuff you have to bunch up and put into a harness or tie off to the side. I will also tell you, because I did say there's a tack wire in here too, but you didn't see me take one out. What I forgot to mention is, so you've got your wire here, and when it comes out to the connector, instead of showing it directly in, or it comes out to the terminal instead of showing it directly in the connector, that means it's in one of the kits here. I forget, this white one right here, and that means it's optional. So if you need that wire to run a factory tack, you can put it in. But as we're not running a factory tack, I don't need that wire. So that's another cool thing they do with these kits. All right, so I had to do a little research. Unlike most modern and even the vintage air stuff, the AC compressor is not run off a relay that has a triggerable ground to hook that AC kick wire up to. The way this is wired is you have power that comes out, goes into your pressure switch, and when the pressure switch trips, because it is the correct pressure, it shoots power to one terminal on the AC compressor, and the other terminal gets body grounded. So to counteract that, I had to install another relay, which this is just going to be a relay that when this is powered, when this switch powers it, it's going to have the 87 and 30 terminals. One or the other will go to ground, and then that will give me my ground signal for that AC kick. Some people say you don't need it. It doesn't really drop that far in RPM. I've done enough of these where it's a noticeable difference, especially like say you're in stop and go traffic and it kicks on and off, or you're turning, or there's already an engine load on. It's a noticeable difference, so you should wire it in. We also decided today that we don't even know if we have these correct metal lines. We're just going to AN fitting these and run hose. There's no reason. This isn't a restoration or anything. Other than that, I think we're done for today. I think I've got 2 or 3 videos, 2 or 3 days worth to put into this video. And we will continue when I see you mañana.